Hi, I'm Dan and welcome to Part of the Red Hand. That's right, I finally figured out the channel name and I think I'm going to keep it. So nonetheless, today we're going to do a in-depth review slash spoiler Easter egg kind of video, but just on the intro for the Wheel of Time, the intro that you can skip all the time. Because I think there's some really neat things in there that you have to really either know the books or cinematography or just be really analytic and eagle-eyed to kind of notice. Before we get into it, spoiler warning for the book series, as well as potentially this TV show if they follow some of these plot lines. So if you haven't read the books, you don't like to have things spoiled, this might not be the video for you, but for those of you who want to stick around or don't care, let's get into it. Alright, so let's get into this. I'm not going to take very long going over this whole intro, but there are some things in there that I think we need to cover. So starting out right away is the fact that it starts out with this thread being pulled. Now that's obviously, talking about the age lace, the weaving of the pattern. This is one thread and it's getting pulled apart. I think that's kind of obvious to most people that, hey, this is breaking a thread. This is somebody dying or somebody's thread being removed from the weave. But here's the part that most people don't realize. If you look at that thread, one half is black, one half is white. This actually isn't representing just someone's thread being pulled. This is representing the one power, Sidar and Sidene, the corruption of Sidene, and how the two users of that power have been split apart because of that. You have the Aes Sedai, all the women who are still, in power and able to use their power without going mad, and then you have the men who are shunned by the world. So that's what that is. That breaking is that division between those two halves of the power and the people that use it. The next thing that you see is you see a black screen, and in the distance there are these little pinpricks of light, and then jumps out these very angular threads, and it's only a few. Maybe 10 total, at tops. They're very angular and they're going all over the place. And then as they travel, you see a more condensed set of golden threads following them. What that is symbolizing is two things. First of all, the pinpricks of light might be them giving a nod to how Min always said that she saw sparkles of light around Tavren, or Taviren, which is how I typically like to say it, Taviren. So if she sees those around Taviren and you see those ones that are coming out, they're very angular and they're kind of going all over the place. I think those are the threads of the Taviren. And if you notice where they go over the next few scenes, as it's weaving in and out of the green threads, wherever those few angular Taviren threads go, that more condensed gold thread follows. So I thought that was very telling. On top of that, when you see the angular threads initially, that's when the names for the actors for Rand, Matt, and Perrin, our three canonical Taviren, are on screen. So right after that, you see the age lace or the threads, those golden threads start weaving kind of on their own, and that's when you see the names for actresses for some Aes Sedai. Obviously not Rosamund Pike, because she was early on, along with Daniel Henney, Madeline Madden, and Zoe Robbins. They were all during the thread pull. But that's happening here. You see, two of the other Aes Sedai's names pop up there. Then you start to see the pattern starting to take shape a little bit. You see, these blues or these greens and golds, and this blue comes down, and that's when they show Harriet McDougal's name as a consultant producer, and that's wonderful because she is the one who is helping them take all of this story and weave it into something that is actually cohesive. I know the books already did that, but she helped her husband Robert Jordan do that as his editor as well. So wonderful placement of her name in when that sequence is happening. Immediately after that, you see the picture start to take shape, and you notice, oh, this is a woman, and you don't realize yet it's one of the Aes Sedai, but you start to see it take shape, and the picture is almost complete. That's when they throw up Brandon Sanderson's name, which again, kind of a nod, because the book series wasn't complete due to the untimely passing of Robert Jordan. Rest in peace, RJ. And it ended up having to be Brandon Sanderson was brought in to finish the series. So that's kind of a neat nod to that. But if you notice, the picture's not done, because he finished the book series, but this is the television series. So he's helping out with that, but he didn't do it all. It's not finished. Rafe Judkins is finishing this form of art. So after that, you get this nice picture of the loom, and I tried to see if there was anything in there other than just some really pretty animations and great cinematic effects. So the scene after that, you see kind of pan around these vertical strands, and it turns into the picture of the red Aja that you see at the end. And here's where the Easter eggs really start. So if you look to her left, towards the bottom, first of all, it kind of looks like she's trying to sit on a throne almost-ish, just for a second, like there's a throne behind her. But it looks like there's these vertical almost shapes that kind of look like eyes. That can allude to secrets, something hidden, somebody watching. But I did notice there's a lot of red, white, and black there, which could also be alluding to Camelin, which they had a red sister there who I won't bring up because they haven't introduced that character yet. So we'll just stay away from that. Those who read the books, you know who I'm talking about. So that was really interesting. But more interesting, if you keep looking to the left and you pause at just the right moment, you see a shadowy figure. You see the shadow of another figure over there. Now, I looked at it a lot and I was like, okay, could this just be another, weaving of the pattern, somebody else being made? But it doesn't seem that the shadows are working like that. It doesn't, it's the shadows are the shadows of the threads, not of the picture the threads are making. So very interesting that there is a shadowy feature off to the left of that red Aja, maybe alluding to black Aja. And then you get one of the most aesthetically pleasing scenes in this whole thing when it pans out and you see the wheel, you see all these big weaves in the upper reaches. It basically weaves in the sky that it's spinning out. It's just a beautiful shot, and I absolutely love it. After that is another really, really interesting scene because it pans out to this explosion of gold threads. But there's also some interesting stuff here. You'll notice that there is some vertical threads that are just kind of hanging limp, almost like they might have been broken, or that they're not pulled taut. They're not where they're supposed to be yet. But in the center of that is the silhouette, the black silhouette, because the explosion of light and gold is behind her, of a woman. Now, I don't know who this is. Maybe it's Rosamund Pike's Moraine. Interesting on who that is. In the comments below, let me know who you think that could potentially be. So now we come to kind of the money shots, if you will, of this thing, and that's where you have the pictures of all the Aes Sedai. Some are close up, and they eventually pan away to show them all. I'm going to go into each of these just in minor details so that you can see the differences and why I think they're important. So first of all, let's start with the white Aja. She does have a halo effect around her head, as most of these do. Kind of a questioning look. The halo isn't really overly ornate, but it is very orderly, almost to a mathematical sense, which would make sense for the whites, that they're very, very logical, very orderly. Then you have the yellow Aja. She's in a praying type pose, but she's actually the look in her face is almost kind of judgmental. Also has a halo effect with a lot of little intricate geometric patterns and designs all around that halo, maybe alluding to how difficult healing weaves are. Then you have the brown Aja, and the brown Aja also has a halo effect, but if you notice around the head you see little speckles of light, almost as in like that's where their focus is in the interior of their mind. Additionally, this one she's holding a book, but her look is away in the distance, like it is not on anything here. She's thinking about something way out there, which is very true to what the Browns are and what they do. So that brings us to the green sister. If you notice, first of all, the first thing I noticed is she has something going down her arm. Now, initially I was like, what is that? I thought it was like, just because of the color, I was like, is it turning bestial, like into a tiger paw or something? But no, I think that's to represent armor, because she's holding the sword in that arm. Additionally, they do have a halo, but if you notice with that halo, there are these arrows kind of going out in a very orderly thing, almost in a very militaristic, cardinal direction type thing. I thought that was a really nice touch for this particular Aja. Then you have the blue Aja, and this one is a little bit different. They also have a halo effect, but there's the design of clouds there, and around that halo is a bunch of there's stars, there's snowflakes, there's little flower shapes. Not entirely sure what that's alluding to, but around the crown there's these little blue loops, which might be talking about the different schemes they have going on, as they are more of those who give in to, dedicate themselves to a path, to a cause, but they also have like their network of eyes and ears and stuff like that. That's very effective. So very interesting there. One note that is different about them than any of the other Aja is if you look at the bottom of her dress, she has another color. It looks like orange kind of coming up behind it. I don't know if that's coming on fire. Maybe like something bad's going to happen to the blues, or which, in the books, we kind of know what happens later on. So just keep that in your mind as we're going through and watching the series. That could be a potential foreshadowing thing right there in the intro. Then we come to the Gray Sister. Her eyes are closed. She also has the halo effect, and the designs around it are just kind of like this regal filigree, like you would see on embroidery, on really expensive drapery, or on duvet covers and things of that nature. So really kind of fits in with them if they're still being more of that ambassadorial type role. And that brings us finally to our favorite, everyone's favorite, the Red Asha, the Red Sister. First of all, you notice she does not have a halo effect. She has some power going around her, but all the other sisters have this clear circular halo. The Reds do not. Now, maybe that is meant to signify something like a water bond. Maybe it's something more sinister, showing that the other ones are fighting for something, but they've kind of lost their path. Who knows? It could go either way. It could be both. So that's one thing that I noticed about the Red Sisters. The other thing I noticed is this is the only sister that has her hands down and clenched. And actually in one of them, she looks like she's holding the power already. So they are quick to use the power, quick to anger, all those things. Additionally, with the Red Asha, if you kind of look behind it, it almost looks like behind it there's a little scene of a city, and it actually looks like the cover art from the original hardback of the Fires of Heaven book cover from back in the day. Not the second generation newer one, but the older one. So take a look at those and tell me what you think about that. So then it pans out away from the pattern, and you see all the Aes Sedai in a circle, and in the middle their threads are all weaving together in a really pretty pattern, but it's not over any color or anything. It's over pitch blackness, the unseen, the hidden Asha, the black Asha. And then they spin into it, and then that whole thing spins into the Wheel of Time logo, which I think they did a wonderful job on taking that typical ID and artwork that we've been seeing for years. I know a lot of people have those tattoos, and turning it into something that's TV ready. Alright guys, so that's all the little Easter eggs, hidden details, and potential foreshadowing that I found in the intro to the Wheel of Time. Let me know if you found anything different. Leave me a note down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to click that like, subscribe, and bell icon so you're notified whenever I come out with new content, and I will see you later. Y'all have a wonderful day.